timing and backup. Our account managers and solution architects are there. That's how we do data center optimization. CDW, people who get it.
What? It made us watch the ad.
It was working yesterday.
Yeah, it works on the Macs.
Alright. If you guys want to watch it another time, just hit me up.
Well, you shared it with us, so we have it.
Yeah, so. Okay. So, this is just facts about Mercury. Little tidbits. Its mass is.
Very big.
It's a lot. But it's only 0.055 times Earth. Its equatorial diameter is 4,879, and its polar diameter is 4,879. Its equatorial circumference is 15,329, and its orbital distance is 57,909,000. Yeah. All right, and now this is for anyone who just like completely zoned out during this whole presentation. I know there were little ups and downs of it, but this is basically just like a very easy way to just understand everything we just said, and yeah.
I am the first planet from our sun you see. My name is Mercury. Nothing orbits faster than me. The smallest planet with the second hardest degree. My name is Mercury. No one is smaller than me. Messenger of the gods is what Mercury means. The Romans gave me my name, 'cause I'm the fastest they've seen. A bit bigger I need than the earthman that you see. To fill the earth one time, it would take 18 of me. I am the first planet from our sun that heats, but I'm the second hottest. I can reach 800 degrees. 88 Earth days is the amount that I take to orbit our sun once. That makes 1 year on me. I am the first planet from our sun you see. My name is Mercury. Nothing orbits faster than me. The smallest planet with the second hottest degree. My name is Mercury. No one is smaller than me. 59 Earth days equals 1 day on me. My surface is made of snow, covered in craters you see. Oxygen, sodium, hydrogen, helium, and potassium make up my exosphere. I have no moons and I have no rings, but I'm the second densest planet almost on the things. I am the first planet from our sun you see. My name is Mercury. That orbits faster than me. The smallest planet with
Yeah,
And
basically Mercury.
the backside just the source of it.
Yeah.
So now you know everything about Mercury.
Yay, thank you.
You're so welcome. Sure, Talon.
Yep.
You were a
Like
great
it says, like, did they include like web-based sources and print sources? How am I supposed to know
Their
that?
bibliography. Their works cited. So what happens now is you and your partner, one of you is going to submit the form to offer the feedback for them. But first, I'm gonna offer Nell and Noah some feedback
Annabelle.
in general.
You know what I'm saying?
What did I say?
You said no.
I was looking at you, that's why I said it, sorry. So Noah and Annabelle, if you would stay up there though and keep the presentation up, so when you finish, I want you to keep the presentations up and stay there. I'm gonna just make some comments.
Wait, should we do that?
Yeah. But you guys aren't gonna do the form yet, because I'm gonna give them this feedback. And the goal here is for us to learn how to be expert presenters, okay? So I'm gonna give all kinds of feedback about different things I observed. I'll send you the copy of the video, and I'll keep this running while I'm giving the feedback, so you'll have that too, okay? So in case you forget. But what we want to see is in your next presentation that you'll get better.
Yeah.
All right, so the first thing is you did, overall what I would say is, to starting us off, you guys did a great job. For the first presentation we're going to see, it was a really good place for us to start. A lot of really good things we saw. First of all, you notice they've got the title slide that should be up in the background while everyone's waiting. So it's already explained. Now what you can do is you can call up that slide, play it, freeze the screen, and then keep going to go back to work on the computer getting things ready. So people are looking at that while you're working instead of us seeing everything that's going on. So that setup transition, there's an easy way to handle that professionally. The freeze is the way to do that. It was very simple presentation, or this slide was very simple, and that's what it should be when you have the title slide. Why did you choose a black background?
Because I miss space. It's like you're in space.
And later you said that the sky appears black if you were there, right? Too. So I thought that was a really good thing. Something that you guys may not know is that the standard smallest size font that you expect people to read should be 16. So anything that you would expect people in the audience to read, like the industry standard is size 16. That's the smallest. You get a really nice bit on the history in the beginning. I think you could have gone even further to point out that the Sumerians had a different name. I don't know if you read that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they had a different name for Mercury, and they were the ones that were the 14th century, but their name also meant messenger god. So even though they had it was a different name and it was before, it was also messenger. So that would just be a little more something to add. Go to the atmosphere slide, please. Okay, so we've got this atmosphere here, and my notes are that whenever you have, since this is a visually driven presentation, you want the pictures and the images to be as large as possible. So if you're going to put 2 images on the slide, put 1 and make it twice as big. Use 2 slides, okay? I was wondering how these pictures related to your discussion of the atmosphere. It didn't seem to me that they related at all to what you were talking about with there were pictures and you gave a lot of good information about the atmosphere, but the pictures didn't seem to relate. I noticed that here, and I think elsewhere, that the images were not cited on the slides.
Oh, they're supposed to be. I thought because you can just click on it and it goes to the link.
Right, but we can't see. When we're doing the presentation, we had to have a sense it was NASA or Wikipedia or da-da-da. So that the images need to be cited in a particular way so we can see that. It was really nice that you gave this extra information about, because the atmosphere is so thin that there's no sound, and you talked about the sky and the color and the atmosphere. That's just really nice parenthetical stuff to include. You mentioned Mariner 10 here.
Oh, was I saying that wrong?
The first time you did, but later you pronounced it correctly, Mariner 10. You might want to give the year and just pop the name up, because it would be something unfamiliar. If there's a term or a name that's unfamiliar, you'd want to bring it up so people can see it. You know, and it just may say Mariner 10, 1974 or whatever. If you could go to the rotation, revolution, the orbital oddities. Okay, so this was a great image to talk about the inclination of the axis. What I think here you could have done to take this section even higher level would have been for there to be 3 slides. You spoke about rotation and revolution, although you didn't use those correct technical terms for them, and have a slide to illustrate those. So you explained it well, but give us a picture. Anything you're going to explain, give us a picture of it. Right? So show a picture of, the revolution, 88 days, and have it labeled, and then show the spin somehow 59 days. Right? And then this is a separate slide. So I think it warranted 3 slides and more images to support you with that. But great work on that. The temperature, I think you just started talking. You talked about the temperature, but there was no image about that. Again, so if you're going to talk about this temperature, if it's important enough to mention, there should be an image that illustrates it.
How would you show an image of the temperature?
Huh?
How would you show an image of the temperature?
You could show a picture of the cause of it.
So like the sun.
Right, so now you could show the sun and you could show Mercury, and then you could have a picture of the Mercury, like slow rotation this side, and you could label the hot temperature and the cold temperature. But so and some of these things that you'd want to show, you may not be able to find. In which case you can create them by by bringing a melange of your own pictures and labels. The distance with the radar signals, same thing. You explained it well, but show a picture of what that was. And you might even go into a little more detail because it turns out that's actually kind of an important thing. There's a physics concept called the Doppler effect. And it's when something is moving toward, it's like when you're on a racetrack, right? And you hear the car coming by and it's like that. It's basically that's called the Doppler effect. As something's coming towards you, it gets higher pitched, and as it goes away, it gets lower pitched. Well, it turns out the same thing happens with light. And radar happens to be light. So that having a slide of that would be a better, I think, to just to illustrate conceptually. You mentioned with a smile that the surface is described as lobate scarps, right? So again, we wouldn't have seen, anyone would not have seen that terminology. So put that term up there, right? And give us a little more detail connecting it to the picture. Because I think that one where you showed the surface, you again also had 2 images on that slide,
Oh, yeah.
right?
I
So
thought the more pictures, the better.
the way to get it more pictures is more slides, each with one large picture, right? And so this is where you might point out, and so in the audience we're kind of guessing, what does lobate scarp apply to? Is it the picture on the left, or is it the picture on the right showing this kind of terracing inside the crater? So you see what I'm saying? A bigger picture makes it easier to explain that. Okay, so then you had some technical difficulties. I don't know if you accidentally clicked on the picture and a tab came up and you had to go back. I wasn't sure what happened.
I think I clicked on the picture and then it brought up.
And then you started talking about the Caloris Basin. So is the Caloris Basin up on the slide? Is one of these showing the Caloris Basin?
Actually, I don't think.
But you now see the issue, right?
Yeah.
You were speaking about the Caloris Basin, suggesting it's a very dominant feature in Mercury, perhaps half the. So how big is it relative to the whole planet? What does it really look like? So again, a slide to show that with a label clearly.
Talked about a little bit big then. That was the Caloris Basin. Like for the atmosphere to show that the asteroids hit it because there's no atmosphere.
Yeah, so then bring that one up again and show that it's labeled, but then maybe also give us a sense of how big it is compared to the whole planet, because you suggested it was like a dominant, super dominant feature on it. So Noah then started talking about the density, and he kind of got audience involvement by asking the question and so forth. That was really nice. But when you had these kind of diagrammatic slides, if you pull them up, again, you've got 2 on there. And in that sense, you guys did a great job because you kept a very similar kind of clean line structure of using these 2 images that were the same side. It created a pleasurable experience that way. Actually refer to the image. Point out, like, it has a large core. So where should we be looking to see the large core? Okay, but notice we're left figuring out, having to interpret the diagram while we're listening to you. And what happens is, when we are trying to get that answer to our question, you say it's got a very large core, and we start hunting and searching for where in the image it is, we stop listening. So you lose us. So point it out. You identified great things to tell us. Have that slide up. Mercury has how does it get to be the second? It's got a very large core, as we show here. Boom, boom, boom. And then, what was the point of the other slide? Did you mention that there are other layers and so forth? Then going further, with the second slide, notice I can't read any of the labels on those parts. So one way to get it around that is to have your own labels where a bullet comes up or an arrow comes up and points to it. So this shows the relative size of the core. And then you press the animation again and that bullet goes